The other thing that I played with to demonstrate the stencil idea is grabbing a rose design from the internet. I just typed in rose stencil and I found this rose design. So to bring that in to make the cuts pretty simple with the pixel trace, you just click on the pixel trace icon, and I saved the rose stencil from the internet to my computer. So I click on open, and it comes right in to at the threshold that it's set, because it was a nice good size design and it was black and white, which comes in well, and I click on import and finish tracing. So I got this design right here, and it's already a stencil because there are no little holes inside. Each little piece is its own separate. Now Di's question was, well, how would we make this stencil in several different colors? So in order to do that, I use a split here, and that puts all the different pieces separately. What I want to do is grab the ones that I might want to be all one color. For example, the leaves I would want green. I just drag my mouse around a section of leaves and join them using the join icon, and then get the other section of leaves and join them. Now I'm going to hold the shift key and click on the one group. I already have that group selected, and I have a couple more petals that I want to be green. Now that I have them all selected, I'm going to click on the smaller of the two plus icons at the bottom of the screen and send them to their own layer, and it automatically sends them to the top. And I'm going to click on green to make those pieces green. Then I'm going to hide that layer so that I can work more easily with the others. Now these all could be red, but maybe I want just these center pieces to be, let's say, pink. I'm holding the shift key and just selecting the center pieces that I want. I'm going to join them just for convenience so they don't move around. Send them to their own layer and click on the color icon to make them pink. And I will hide that layer again so that I can select all the rest, join them, send them to their own layer, and I'll make those burgundy. And so now I have several different colors, a multi-layered stencil, multicolored stencil that Di was asking about. But she wanted one step further, and that was to make a mask so that she could use each color separately without bleeding one color to the next. So let's say we were using paint and we wanted to paint this design on the center of a plate, for example. If this were representing the plate, I can use Control Shift and drag it so that I have a circle here. And once I have the design all centered, to center it, I centered it before changing the color. So for example, let's say here's a rose all joined up together, all one color. If I wanted to do a stamp, for example, it would all be one color. I would cut all of this out of the stamping rubber and mount it as needed, and then I would be able to color each little segment with my fat marking pens, and then stamp wherever I wanted. But if I wanted to paint this design in several colors, first I want to center it all, so I'm selecting both and then typing S to center it perfectly. So what I'm going to do is grab these pieces and make sure that they are centered over that original. Now I can hide the pink layer of the flower, and now I have my multicolored things here. So we have the option in Make the Cut to be able to select one group or one layer, if I click on the thumbnail, I can select the green, for example, right here. I'll select just the green, hold a shift and select the circle and drag them over, and now I have just the green pieces that will cut out of that circle, and everything else will be hidden, so that if I'm using a stamp pad or if I want to use paint, I can paint my plate with openings just here. Now, to get them, these openings to be grouped together, I click on join, and it'll take the color of the topmost piece, which happened to be green. Now it has openings in the stencil, and I can cut this out. It'll cover my plate, assuming that I made my circle the size that I want it to be, and then I've got that piece to do my green. Now I can take that same design, and again, if I put the X's, the pluses in the middle over each other, that stacks them. I would like to, I shouldn't move that. Now I want to get maybe the little pink things in the center, hold a shift and get this circle. I'll hold Control Shift and drag. So now I have just an opening. If I join those, I've got the opening just for the light pink right in the center of this, and everything else will be masked so that I don't get paint where I don't want it to be. One of my friends paints really nice things on wood, and she uses her cutter to create her stencils this way. And then finally, if I want to do the, I'll hide the little pink pieces here, send them to their own layer and just hide them so that I have the red remaining. I'm going to select those and again join, and that gives me the openings here just for the red pieces in the design. It doesn't really matter what color this is, but the color reminds me of what I wanted to use for that particular part of the design. So this is creating stencils out of multi-colored designs. And you can, with any kind of stencil design, you can create your own plates, so to speak, to fit the shapes of the designs that you're doing.